I feel like our journey to grow our family, we're just opening door after door after door, and we're like kind of getting somewhere, but also not. I've had more blood work done. My progesterone actually looked great. Work-wise, it seems like the only thing that's just been coming back off has been my thyroid, specifically my TSH. Earlier this week, I just had that retested to see if the medication that I started it's been like maybe 2 months ago, has been working. Good news is that my levels went down to exactly where we wanted them to be. Bad news, however, is that means that we have not been getting the answers that we were looking for. Later this week, I did have an ultrasound, hopefully to give us some kind of indication if there's like cysts or polyps that we're working with on my uterus or my ovaries. Let me just tell you, it was one hot mess trying to get to the actual appointment. There were some tears shed. But then another doctor in the practice was actually willing to do my ultrasound, but I think it was actually a blessing in disguise because he was able to find some things that I don't think were super obvious unless you were just like really knowing what you were looking for. Fallopian tubes are harder to see on an ultrasound, but he did see evidence. One of my fallopian tubes looked like it had fluid in it, aka that meant there was some inflammation in my fallopian tube. The HSG is my next step to kind of see in more detail what's going on there. But it's interesting because the big kicker is like what's actually causing the inflammation of my fallopian tubes. In the week leading up to my doctor's appointment, I just had this feeling. I kept seeing it everywhere about ureaplasma and how it's not really commonly tested for, but a lot of times it can be an underlying cause of infertility or contributor, I guess. Through my digging of inflammation of the fallopian tubes, ureaplasma can also cause inflammation of the fallopian tubes or PID. Here we are. My doctor was super receptive to testing for it. Swabbed for like a bunch of different things to see if we can get some antibiotics going. I don't know the results of those yet. Needless to say, I'm absolutely terrified for the HSG. I feel like online is just full of horror stories about them. There's quite a few people and they reminded me that not all the time do people share their good experiences on the internet. So I'm holding hope. Earlier this week, I was like super hopeful that we had some next steps to work towards. The longer I've been able to spend time on the internet, the scarier that becomes. I've heard that HSGs can actually kind of like flush things out and can make it easier to get pregnant. If you're not one of those people, I don't know what this means, how long the journey is gonna be. And the absolute loneliest thing I think I've ever had to go through. It like really sucks. Trying to find the balance of like hope for the future, but also not getting my hopes up. That's where we're at. We are somewhere, but just not where we need to be yet. And I don't know when we'll get there.